Top 4 Popular Read Alouds, Part 2.
StoryTime!
Welcome back, Storytimers! Today we are reading Who Pooed in My Loo? By Emma Adams and Mike Byrne. In the bathroom this morning, I looked in the loo. And guess what I saw? Yes, that's right, it's a poo! I couldn't believe it. I called for my mum. There's a gift in our toilet made by a bum. Quick as a flash, I knew just what to do. Someone had pooped here, and I'd find out who. Maybe a dinosaur stamped in, stomp, stomp, and sat on the toilet with one giant whomp. Then ate all the loo paper, even a towel, before rumbling out on a neighbourhood prowl. Or maybe a shark came in here with a splosh. Her big shiny gnashes, they needed a wash. She squeezed out the toothpaste, but got very cross when she realised we'd run out of shark-sized tooth floss. Wouldn't like a shark in my bathroom. Maybe a dragon flew in with a swoop to sit on our toilet for his morning poop. He stretched out his wings and gave my dad a scare when he flew out the door breathing fire everywhere. Or maybe a giant had a big tummy ache and crashed through the roof, making all the walls shake. But that can't be right, I realised with a snigger. A giant's poo? Well, that would be much, much bigger. That does make sense. Did an elephant sit on the bath with a clunk, then spurt lots of water from his giant trunk? Did he use all the soap and the bubble bath too, before realising he needed the loo? What if a lion padded in with a roar? Feeling upset 'cause his bottom was sore. I bet he growled loudly and shook out his mane. He probably ate too much breakfast again. Or maybe the poo was left here by an elf who sat on our toilet instead of a shelf, singing Frosty the Snowman and then Jingle Bells. Hey elf, those are not very Christmassy smells. Pooey. Oh look, there's a rainbow outside shining bright. Maybe a unicorn came in the night, shining with magic like unicorns do, although this does not look like a magical poo. No, it can't be a unicorn, shark or big cat, a dragon or elephant, nothing like that. Not a dino or giant or elf, but then who? Who left this poo in our family loo? But now that I think of it, there is one other. He lives in this house, yes, you've got it. My brother. You see, he's still learning, and he's only 3. He's not quite as big or as grown up as me. I'm sorry I left it, he says with a blush. It's all right, I say, but remember to flush and wash both. It's all right, I say, but remember to flush and wash both your hands very carefully too whenever you go for a wee or a poo. Oh, that was a funny story and a really good one as well, because it reminds you to make sure you flush your toilet and wash your hands too. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
StoryTime!
Welcome back, Storytimers. Today's read aloud is The Hexapus by Joy McCoy. There was an old octopus who lived in his cave. He was grumpy, bumpy, and he often misbehaved. He had 6 tentacles. He was missing 7 and 8. Nothing happened to them. It was just a born trait. His body was blue. His bumps were all red. He carried so many mean thoughts in his head. I don't like all these bumps. I don't like that I am blue. I don't like my tentacles. I don't like missing too. His neighbours all feared him. He was really quite mean. He'd ink up their yards and make them unclean. The sea cops were called a number of times, but he was never arrested for any of his crimes. He'd say, "It's an accident. I can't control my ink." If you were an octopus, you'd know it's harder than you think. But when the sea cops would move out of sight, he would smirk at the neighbours. It would fill them with fright. "Why is he so mean?" the neighbours often asked. And it all came down to the octopus past. Being born different wasn't lived at ease. The kids at Octopus School loved to tease. They teased because he was missing too. They teased a lot, this much was true. "You're not an octopus," they would all taunt, and they'd flail their 8 legs around to flaunt. "Oh, I know," one kid exclaimed. "He's a hexapus, that's his new name." So the Hexapus he became, a wannabe octopus riddled with shame. He continued on with his hexapus life, inking on lawns and causing strife. Then one day someone new came to town. Another octopus family moved 2 doors down. The hexapus grumbled when they moved down the street. "Ugh, that's one family I don't want to meet. I already know exactly what to expect. They'll make fun of me, I know I'm correct." A few days later, a letter appeared. Who was it from? Just who he feared. The neighbours had written and invited him over, neatly written and signed, Mr. and Mrs. Grover. The hexapus held the letter so tight, then he nervously reread the Grovers' invite. "The neighbours said there's another octopus on the street. We are so excited and we'd really like to meet. It's always nice to be around multi-legged kind. We'd love to have you over if you don't mind. Please come over today 5:30. Dinner will be ready by the time you arrive. Don't worry about bringing any side dishes. We just want to be around another octopus among fishes. We truly look forward to dining with a multi-legged friend. Can't wait to see you. We really hope you can attend. Truly can't wait to have you over. Signed, Mr. and Mrs. Grover." "Oh no," cried the hexapus. "What do I do? They'll hate me when they realise I'm an octopus -2. Then an idea crossed the hexapus brain. An idea that excited him and he couldn't contain. "I'll trick them," he said. "Make them think I have 8. Then I'll go over there and I'll have a nice plate. I don't have much time, so I have to be quick. Now what should I use to go through with my trick?" He found some seaweed and he painted it blue. He attached it to his body with extra sea glue. He looked in the mirror, all filled with pride. He waited to leave until the sea glue dried. He swam down the street to the neighbour's home. He swam down their driveway past their yard gnomes. When he got to the door, he checked his sea glue. It was all intact. His plan was coming through. He took a deep breath and he knocked on the door. Then waited and waited and waited some more. At last the door swung open and Mr. Grover stood there. He was perfectly blue with perfect black hair. "Hello," he said and flashed a friendly smile. "So glad you could make it. Come in, stay a while. I'm Mr. Grover, but you can call me Wayne. Oh, by the way, what is your name?" The hexapus was shocked. His plan had worked. He stood more confidently and slightly smirked. "My name is Miles. How do you do? Nice to meet other eight-legged friends like you." Inside the Grover's home, the hexapus met Wayne's wife. She was cutting sea cucumbers with an extra sharp knife. When she saw the hexapus, her smile lit the room. "It's truly nice to have you," she said. "You can call me June." "Go ahead and wash up," she said. "We'll be eating in a bit." The hexapus washed up, then took a place to sit. Mr. and Mrs. Grover then sat in their spots. "Be careful," Mrs. Grover said. "The stew is still hot." The hexapus smiled and raised his glass for a toast. "2 eight-legged friends and my gracious host." "2 multi-legged friends," Mrs. Grover replied. "Before we eat, let me call down our son Hyde." Mrs. Grover then called upstairs to their son. "Hyde, come down. Dinner is done." "Coming, Mom," Hyde called. "I will be right there." Then came some shuffling from the top of the stairs. The little one happily swam into the room. The Hexapus froze and his silence loomed. Something was off. Maybe his eyes were playing tricks. But then he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right then, the Hexapus realized he was not alone, and the boy introduced himself in a playful tone. "I know," the child said. "You may think I'm a squid, but no, I tricked you. I'm a normal octopus kid. My legs might be fewer, but my spirit is more. With only 6 legs, I'm never a bore." The Hexapus just couldn't believe it. No, his mind just couldn't conceive it. "He's a Hexapus," he muttered under his breath. The family heard him and about laughed to death. "A Hexapus!" exclaimed the little boy. "I'm a Hexapus, yes!" he shouted with joy. "I'm a Hexapus, a Hexapus! That's my new name." He claimed being a Hexapus. He claimed it with no shame. The mum simply smiled at the boy with pride and said, "Yes, that's perfectly describes our little Hyde. Since he was born, he's been a little bit different, but that doesn't make him any less significant." "Besides," Hyde said, "being 6-legged is great. I'm agiler and I'm faster than all my classmates. Not to mention, I'm the best at octa-hide and seek. Having 6 legs makes it much easier to sneak." The Hexapus was baffled, confused, and quite shocked. He sat amazed while the young Hexapus talked. The Hexapus thought, "How can this be? He loves having 6 legs, nothing like me." He leaned in as the young one spoke, listening to all his 6-legged jokes. He was amazed by how Hyde loved his uniqueness. Hyde didn't see having less as a weakness. Instead, in his differences, he found strength. He spoke kindly of himself the whole dinner's length. Towards the end of dinner, Hyde had to confess, "Well, there is one bad thing about having 2 legs less. I love who I am, really I do, but no one else knows what it's like to miss 2. Sometimes it can feel a bit lonely. That's how it is being the one and only." Hyde hung his head, but not for very long. His dad spoke up saying, "Hyde, you are very strong. You may be different, but you are never alone. We might not get it, but you're still our own. We love you more than you can guess. You may have fewer, but you are not less." At this point, the Hexapus felt tears come to his eyes. He tried to hold it back, but the Hexapus began to cry. The Hexapus at this time had a choice to make, to show who he is or continue to fake. He took a deep breath to clear his head. He stood up, and this is what he said. "I have a confession. I have something to say. I don't know how to say this. It's been quite a long day. You see, I am not who you think I am. I have tricked you. I am a big scam. You think I'm an octopus, and this is not true. I'm actually a Hexapus, just like you." He pulled off the seaweed and sunk his head low. "I'm sorry I tricked you. It was wrong, I know. I've hated myself for so long, and it has caused me to do much wrong." The family gasped. They couldn't believe their eyes. "I understand," he said, "if you can't forgive my lies." The Hexapus turned to head for the door. He figured they wanted his company no more. He was at the door when a little voice spoke. "Miles, you're crazy," Hyde started to joke. "We aren't sad or mad, don't you see? You're a Hexapus just like me. I thought I was the only one of my kind. I thought I was alone, another I could not find. You're a Hexapus like me. Here you are. This is the happiest news I've ever heard by far. So come back to the table. We are not hurt. Besides, we haven't even had dessert." Something changed in the Hexapus that day. His heart started changing in a beautiful way. He loved who he was, and he had nothing to hide. He flaunted his 6 legs with no shame but with pride. As for the neighbours whose yards were left in a mess, what the Hexapus did, you will never guess. He started a new business and cleaned them for free. Hexapus Lawn Service, the best in the sea. Life turned around when he accepted his uniqueness, when he realised that his difference were not weakness. Now he cheers over being different. After all, it does not make him any less significant. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Story time.
Welcome back, Storytimers. Today's read aloud is Don't Say Elephant by Stuart Heritage and Nicholas Later. Nobody knew why Pancakes was called Pancakes. He wasn't a pancake, he was a dog. And he didn't even like pancakes. The only food that Pancakes liked was pizza. So we're agreed, he said to his brother Cha-Cha one sunny Monday. First we go and get a pizza, and then we go to the playground. Playground first, shouted Cha-Cha and tore off into the distance. Pancakes felt his tummy rumble. It was going to be a long day. By the time Pancakes got to the playground, Cha-Cha had already been on the slide, the swings, the roundabout, and the monkey bars. He was very excited. Elephant! Cha-Cha shouted. Pancakes rolled his eyes. Not this again. There aren't any elephants, he said. But Cha-Cha had already found something else to investigate. Cha-Cha, leave there alone, Pancakes called. He didn't like the look of this. They wouldn't be allowed into the pizza restaurant if one of them stank like a bin. But before Pancakes could protest any further, he heard a yelp. Cha-Cha had found something. A little purple woman. Cha-Cha scrunched up his nose. Elephant? He said. No, little dog, cried the woman, doing a twirl. Her voice was surprisingly loud for someone so small. I am not an elephant. I am the genie of the bin, and I am here to grant you 3 wishes. What's a wish? Said Pancakes. The genie explained that a wish is something that you want. Ask me for anything, she said, and I will give it to you. But how? The genie explained that she was magic. If you're magic, why do you live in a bin? Said Pancakes. Look, do you want these 3 wishes or not? Said the bin genie. Did you hear that, Cha-Cha? Said Pancakes. This bin person says that we can have anything we want in the whole wide world. Right, this is our big chance, Pancakes continued. We can ask for anything at all. Now, I know you like elephants, but what about a pizza? A pizza the size of a paddling pool. Cha-Cha cocked his head to one side. Great, I'll ask her, said Pancakes. Just whatever you do, don't say elephant. Pancakes turned to the little purple woman. Bin genie, we know our first wish. Please can we have a elephant? Shouted Cha-Cha. Your wish is my command, cried the bin genie. 1 elephant coming up. Puff! That's 1 elephant coming down, wailed Pancakes. Where are we going to put an elephant? Oops, said Cha-Cha. Sorry. Never mind, we've still got 2 wishes left, said Pancakes. Bin genie, our second wish is for a great, big, yummy, cheesy elephant, shouted Cha-Cha. The genie rolled her eyes. Your wish is my command, she sighed. 1 great, big, yummy, cheesy elephant. Cha-Cha, yelped Pancakes. What did I tell you? Don't say elephant, said Cha-Cha. That's right. Don't say elephant. Pancake scratched his head. They had 1 wish left. Cha-Cha, I'm going to have to ask the bin genie to make the elephants go away. That will be our last wish. Cha-Cha looked over to the elephants longingly. His head dropped. Oh, he said to Pancakes. Your final wish, please, said the bin genie. I do have other things to do today, you know. Pancakes looked at Cha-Cha's sad little face. He looked at the elephants. His tummy rumbled and he sighed. Okay, 2 pillows, please, genie. Your wish is my command, said the genie. And with that, she hopped on to the number 28 bus and was gone. Cha-Cha looked up at Pancakes with a puzzled expression. If we're keeping these elephants, they'll need something to sleep on, Pancakes explained. Oh, elephants, said Cha-Cha happily. Oh, pizza, said Pancakes, even more happily. Come on, let's go home. I do like these elephants, said Pancakes. But why do I have to sleep next to the cheesy one? Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Story time.
Welcome back, Storytimers. Today's read aloud is Who Ate the Cake? By Kate Leake. Bob was Freddie's dog. He was always getting into trouble, mostly for eating things that he shouldn't. Bad Bob, no biscuit. Freddie was Bob's boy. Freddie was often in trouble too, mostly because he liked collecting things. Not more things, Freddie. Eek. Every week, Freddie counted up his pocket money and bought lots of new things from his collector's weekly catalogue. So far, he had collected 15 toy cars, 11 comics, 12 robots, 7 cacti, 9 trains, 16 dinosaur bones, 5 ships in bottles, 10 shark teeth, 8 cuckoo clocks, 6 snow globes, 4 pink ponies, which he sent back, 3 aliens, and a handful of creepy crawlies. Bob loved Freddie's collection. It gave him plenty of interesting things to chew, especially the dinosaur bones. Mum and Dad were less happy. Freddie, they said, there must be no more things. But that very afternoon, another huge box arrived. Freddie had ordered so many things from his collector's weekly catalogue that he'd earned a mystery-free gift. Bob sniffed the box suspiciously. It smelled sort of, fishy. Squawk! We'd better not tell Mum and Dad about this, said Freddie. Then he lifted the lid and out popped a pelican. Freddie was thrilled. But Bob didn't like the pelican. It was big, it was flappy, and its beak was wide enough to gulp down a computer. Gulp. Which is exactly what it did when Freddie wasn't looking. No, barked Bob. Pesky pelican. Shh, said Freddie. Mum and Dad mustn't find out about him. And that was just the start of the chaos. First, Mum's knitting went missing. Grrr, growled Bob. Pesky pelican. Then it was Dad's daffodils. Gasped Bob. Pesky pelican. Then it was Gran's best tea set, plus some very posh pastries from Paris. Help, said Bob. Pesky pelican. Then it was all of Bob's favourite chewy toys. No, cried Bob. Pesky pelican. But did the pesky pelican get the blame? Of course not. Nobody knew about him. They all blamed Bob instead. My knitting, cried Mum. Bad Bob, no biscuit. My daffodils, groaned Dad. Bad Bob, no biscuit. My tea set, squeaked Gran. Bad Bob, no biscuit. My chewy toys, howled Bob. Sad Bob, more biscuits. But nobody understood him. Bob decided that pesky pelican was nothing but big, bad, beaky trouble. But the next day was Freddie's birthday. Bob was determined to be on his best Bob behaviour. That way he might get a piece of Freddie's big birthday cake. The cake had been baking all morning and it smelled scrumptious. Bob tiptoed into the kitchen to have another good sniff before tea time. But he was too late. With one beaky gulp, the pelican ate the whole cake. There was nothing left but one teeny tiny cherry. Gulp. No, howled Bob. Pesky pelican! He chased that pesky pelican all round the kitchen, but the pelican was too fast and floppy for him. Pans clattered, plates smashed, spoons scattered, food splashed. And everyone came running to see what the commotion was. "My kitchen!" shrieked Mum. "My cake!" said Freddie. "Bad Bob!" shouted everyone. "Look at this mess!" There was custard on the windows, plates on the floor, jam on the ceiling, and a pelican on the fridge. "Good gracious!" said Mum. "There's a pelican on the fridge." "I told you so," barked Bob. "Oops," said Freddie. It took a long time to unpack the pelican's beak. Inside, they found one entire big birthday cake, minus one teeny tiny cherry, Grand's tea set, and some very soggy pastries from Paris, Dad's daffodils, something that had once been Mum's knitting, all of Bob's chewy toys, and a whole lot of other things they hadn't even noticed were missing. "Poor Bob!" cried everyone. All those days of no biscuit, and he'd not been a bad Bob at all. "Bob needs a treat," said Dad. "What would you like for tea, Bob?" "Sausages," barked Bob. And for once, everyone understood him perfectly. Bob ate a lot of sausages, while Mum and Dad stuffed that peckish pelican's beak full of juicy fish, and Gran and Freddie baked another cake. After all the fuss, it turned into Freddie's best birthday ever, especially when there was a knock on the door. And another mystery gift arrived. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.